childhood can be a tough time for a lot of kids. And here to tell me more about a coalition that deals with just that, I have Bridget Glassco. I'm so glad you came in today. This is such an interesting subject.
I think so, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So we're talking about adverse childhood experiences and resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what you mean by an adverse childhood experience. I could think of the biggies. You're raised in a war zone. I could see that. You lost your mom very young. But what are some of the other things that can happen?
So adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, are traumatic or stressful events that happen really in a child's life before they turn 18. And you've mentioned some. They can be events within the home, so different types of abuse, neglect, or household issues, or they can be in the wider community, so experiences of community violence, racism and discrimination, bullying.
I was going to say bullying.
Yes.
It seems like, and some kids put up with this for a long time and don't tell anybody. And so what can happen to children who experience that, let's say before age 7, and as they into their teens and into their adulthood, if it's not addressed, what can happen?
So if it's not addressed, we have clear evidence that the more of these ACEs or experiences that a child has in their life, the more likely they are to develop serious negative health outcomes later in life.
Well, okay, get more specific. Like, what are we talking about? Negative health outcomes?
Well, mental health challenges, substance use, some chronic adult onset diseases.
Okay, yeah, obesity perhaps, overeating, undereating. There's all kinds of things people, and because it was never addressed and they just went through their lives still carrying this. That's the idea.
Absolutely.
So, how did the idea of this coalition come together? How did that start?
Well, we know that we have this information about ACEs and these very predictable outcomes, and we know that if they are predictable, they're preventable, and there is a lot that we can do to prevent these difficulties later in children's lives. And really we do that through building resilience in children and families in our communities. And
this all started with a grant or money from the Sisters of Providence.
Well, it started really through community conversations just before the pandemic, and the foundation had convened people around the topic, different representatives from organizations and people working with children and families, and really trying to develop a community response to preventing ACEs, mitigating their effects, and building resilience in the community. And the Sisters of Providence of St. Vincent de Paul gave a very generous gift to the foundation, and really looking to address two issue areas affecting the youngest and the oldest amongst us. So around ACEs and building resilience, as well as addressing isolation and a sense of belonging for older adults in our community.
That's certainly important too. But for now, it's just it's dealing with these children. And so building resilience, this means that you're not saying, no, you didn't get bullied or it wasn't that bad. You're saying, what can you do to mitigate, or what can you do, even though this has happened to you, what can we do to make you successful and make you the person you could be?
To overcome adversity. Yes.
All right.
And resilience is built throughout a lifetime, so it's never too late to build resilience, and that's a really powerful and important message for people who have experienced trauma early in life. But we do know that those first few years and months of just rapid brain development is when we can help to build a foundation for lifelong health and happiness in babies. So through interactions with parents, a safe and nurturing relationship and strong attachment. It's just so incredibly powerful.
Now, sometimes parents, they're just simply not equipped to do that, and this is what leads to some of the outcomes that you talked about. So we're talking about maybe it's a little more of an arm's length relationship you might have, or say your nieces and your nephews, your grandchildren, your neighbors' kids, what are some of the other connections that might be happening here that would help these kids get through what they've been through?
We all have a role to play in helping to build resilience in children, and we can do that with the children in our lives and with the children we interact with, and really providing positive interactions and strong connections in their communities. And like you said, those may be children in your families, or they may be children in your neighborhoods, or children you teach or you coach or you volunteer with, or who come into your place of business.
So it might be church, it might be
Absolutely.
Girl Guides, Boy Scouts, it might be baseball team, hockey, those kinds of things, wherever children gather.
Yes.
You could be that positive influence.
Yeah.
So you find yourself, you're signed up to be a brownie leader or something like that. What are some of the things that a person could do? And first of all, how do you recognize that the kid needs you?
Well, I think every kid needs these interactions. Every kid needs to feel supportive and like they belong and like they matter. And I think if we go about in our daily lives treating children and with that understanding of how powerful that is for children and their development, then we can really we can be that safe, nurturing, available adult for the children we come into contact with.
Now, I never had children. I'll admit I'm not very good with children, so I wouldn't know where to begin. I wouldn't know what to say. Tell me what to do, because I'm a little bit dense when it comes to things like this.
Yeah. I mean, I think a really good starting point is just to be kind and to offer ourselves and to be approachable and to listen. And we could do this with children, but we can also do this with adults in our community. And so, we know that many vulnerable adults have experienced trauma as children. And when we have that understanding, we can really start to meet people with empathy and understing.
It sounds like basic kindness.
It's basic kindness. It's very intentional kindness, and also just looking for opportunities to be that person in someone's life and making ourselves available.
It's interesting. There's a project already underway that deals specifically. Can you tell me about that?
Yes. So I thought it would be fun to just highlight one of the projects that is being funded by the foundation in our spring community grants round. And it's Kingston Community Health Centers, who are a member of the Adverse Childhood Experiences Coalition of KFL&A. And they have a program called Serve and Return, the Power of a Parent's Touch. And this program is special for many reasons, but it's made in Kingston, developed in Kingston, and really focuses on the prevention side of ACEs and on building resilience for infants and parents. So it was developed by a woman named Wendy Flecker, and really based on her 25 years of experience at KCHC as a child and family support worker.
So what exactly do they do? How do they find families that need this? How do they work with them? How does this work?
So the program is for new parents, and they come in and they bring their babies, And Wendy is a certified infant massage coach, practitioner, instructor. And so she really helps the new parents to connect with their babies through touch and to understand their baby's cues and respond to those cues. And she teaches about infant brain development while she's doing this. So the new parents really understand how important that attachment is and building that trust by responding to your baby's cues for their baby's development. And they are also making connections with each other. So they're supporting each other, they're building friendships, and they're connecting with their babies. And it's quite powerful.
They used to have, I think they were called Mom and Me groups. Do they still have those?
There are a lot of groups for new parents, yes, and they're so important. And I think it's especially, during the pandemic, new parents really didn't have that support. And we know that one of the really important things about these groups and the Serve and Return program is that it's also building resilience in parents. And so resilient parents can offer a supportive home for children to grow and to thrive in.
It's not a natural instinct for everybody.
It isn't for everybody, and it can be a very isolating and stressful time. And so being able to provide a safe and welcoming space for new parents to come, to feel supported, to model interactions with babies and provide techniques. And I've read some of the testimonials, and what a lot of the parents are doing is they're bringing back this knowledge and information and these techniques to their partners, to grandparents. And they're also, in some cases, reframing their own understanding of their experiences. And that is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I can see that. What are some of the other projects that you're saying, if we had a project that did this and this, that would really fit into our mandate? What's in the wings? What should we be watching for?
Well, there are all sorts of really wonderful things happening in our community, and one of the things that we really try to achieve as a coalition is to share all of the different programs and initiatives that are looking to support parents and children and build resilience and offer trauma-informed services to people in our community, and to really coordinate those approaches so that we can be supporting each other in this work.
This group, you say 37 members? Mm-hmm. Tell me who these, well, not each one, but tell me generally who comes together, has input into the projects that you deal with.
Yes, well, there are 37 members from 21 organizations, and those would include social services providers, healthcare providers, school boards, post-secondary institutions, and so they are people from different roles within those organizations. Some work directly with families and children, some are in leadership roles, but really a shared understanding about trauma and adversity and the importance of building resilience and a dedication to doing this work in our community.
It sounds fascinating, and I'll be watching for more grants that are given for other projects that fall into this mandate. It's fascinating. And if people want to know more, there's contact information called the Community Foundation.
Absolutely.
And to get more information. Thank you so much for coming in to tell me about this.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.